will talk about some important corollaries. The first corollary here is what? If we have a circle passing through the three vertices of triangle ABC. So this circle is called circumcircle, and the triangle is called what? Is called inscribed triangle. So we can draw a circle passing through the vertices of the triangle, and this circle will be called a circumcircle, and the triangle is called what? Is called inscribed triangle. Let's look to the second corollary here. If we have also a circle passing through three vertices of triangle ABC, so the perpendicular bisector is intersect at the center of the circle. What is the meaning of perpendicular bisector? Perpendicular bisector here is the axis of symmetry of each line of each side of triangle, of each side of the triangle ABC. So the perpendicular bisector is the axis of symmetry of each side. So AB have L1 as the axis of symmetry or a perpendicular bisector. AC have L3 as a perpendicular bisector, and BC have L2 as a perpendicular bisector. This L1 and L2 and L3 are intersect at one point, and this point is the center of the circle. Now we will talk about some important points in our remark, which is the position of the center of our circle inside each kind of triangle. If we have an acute triangle, so the all perpendicular bisector or the all axes of symmetry of it are intersect at one point inside the circle. Inside what? Inside the circle. Let's look to the other kind here, which is right angle triangle. If we have a right angle triangle and there is a circle passing through the vertices of this right angle triangle, so the perpendicular bisector are intersect at one point, but this point lies on the hypotenuse of the right angle triangle. And the hypotenuse is what? The hypotenuse is the longest side of right angle triangle. So here, if we have an acute triangle, so all perpendicular bisector are intersect at one point inside the circle. But if we have right angle triangle, so all axes of symmetry or all a perpendicular bisector are intersect at one point, but this point here lies on the hypotenuse of right angle triangle. Let's look to the other kind here, which is an obtuse angle triangle. If we have obtuse angled triangle and the circle passing through all vertices of it, so all the axes of symmetry also are intersect at one point, but outside the triangle, and the intersection point is the center of this circle. So as we studied before, we have three kinds of triangle according to angle, which is the acute angle triangle and right angle triangle and obtuse angle triangle. Acute angle triangle means all angles are less than 90 degree. So if we have an acute triangle, so a perpendicular bisector will be intersect at one point inside this triangle. And second kind here is right angle triangle. If we have a right angle triangle and the circle passing through all vertices of it, so the all perpendicular bisector are intersect at one point, and this point lies on the hypotenuse of right angle triangle. Let's look to the other kind here, which is obtuse angle triangle. And the obtuse angle triangle means what? Means the greatest angle is greater than 90 degree. Here, if we have an obtuse angle, the triangle, so the perpendicular bisector will be intersect at one point, but the position of this point is outside the circle, and also the intersection point is the center of the circle. Now let's look to a special case. A special case if we have an equilateral triangle. An equilateral triangle means what? Means all sides in this triangle are equal in length, and also all angles are equal in measure. What about this case? If we have equilateral triangle. So the center of circumcircle of an equilateral triangle is the intersection of what? Of axis of symmetry. The intersection of axis of symmetry and intersection of altitudes and intersection of median and intersection of median and intersection of what? Of bisector of angle. Intersection of bisector of angle. So in equilateral triangle we can call the all this is what? Axis is altitude, is median, is bisector of angle, and all this are intersect at one point, which is the center of the circle. Which is the center of the circle. Thank you.